What's going on, everyone? It's Dan here, guys. I want to welcome you all to the game update for November 2022. Jumping into the last few months of 2022, it's pretty crazy how fast things have been going through. And November, much like October, there's a good chunk of games coming out. Originally, actually, there was less than there was in October. I decided to tack on a couple extra games that I originally wasn't going to play early this week. So you're going to have a few more games, most likely beatable in their own stream though, so it's not like it's going to take up multiple or a good chunk of time. So anyway, I am just going to jump right into the first game. Coming out on the 3rd, but I am going to be covering it early on the 2nd. The game is called the Entropy Center. Now, what this is a puzzle game that uses time manipulation to progress. So it's like a sci-fi puzzle game where, honestly, almost kind of look at it like a mix between, just based on what I've seen visually, the visual aspect, picture it like a hybrid between Portal and Deliver Us, Deliver Us the Moon, right? Yeah, so it's very similar to those kind of games in style, but obviously its focus is on the puzzle aspect about like moving, so like what if one thing fell, you have to rewind time to get through, or creating a bridge, that sort of thing. And there's a ton of just different levels through that. I'm not exactly sure how long the game is going to be, but I believe based on the style of the game, it should be beatable in one stream. We should be in it for the long haul anyway, so even if it is longer than I planned, we should be able to take care of it in the first little bit. So I'm looking forward to that. I haven't had a sci-fi puzzler game in a long time, so that'll kick things off, like I said, on the 2nd, kind of early on, since I have the early code. Normally releasing on the 3rd, though, just keep that in mind. All right, also, now this game, I remember seeing it at like Summer Game Fest. I wasn't sure if I wanted to cover it, and to be honest, right now I'm not 100% sure if I wanted to cover it. I'll kind of leave that up to you guys. But coming out on the 3rd, may or may not get an early code. Even if I do get an early code, I want to prioritize probably the Entropy Center first, just based on that. I probably won't get an early code for this anyway, but it does come out the 3rd as well officially, and it is called the Chant. Now, the Chant is it's got kind of an interesting art style to it, but it is kind of like an adventure game, sort of creepy in a way, and there's cults involved. There's a cult involved. It's got very interesting looking gameplay because it's almost like a lot of games in this genre that it is stylize themselves over a realism, as real as possible. Visually, it looks like as similar as it possibly can to the real world. This one takes a more cartoonistic style to it. It's not a cartoon, mind you, but it's more animated, almost along the lines of like the Ghostbusters video game, even like the latest one that came out, or even like like Friday the 13th. Not quite, not quite 100% realism, but obviously there's a bit of a cartoonistic aspect to it. Like I said, it takes along that side, following a cult on an island, and it's like a retreat island that turns out to be cult run. So I think that sounds really cool, and apparently it is beatable anywhere from 6 to 10 hours. I think 10 hours is pushing it. Like, you've got to be really drudging through, so there's no reason we can't get through it, because I know that the game is, like, when I saw the game announced originally, I'm like, that could be really cool, involving a cult and kind of like undead and like things like that. It is like a 3rd-person game as well instead of a 1st-person. Again, slightly altered from what we normally see from that genre, but I think that could be really cool. So there's like powers and things that we're gonna have. So it's not a walking sim. It's not one of those games where you just kind of activate things, you have to avoid enemies. It has nothing to do with that. You can actually attack enemies with powers and things like that. So I think that should be a cool one to kick things off the week with as well. Now, moving on to the week after. This week, I don't know why anybody would release any game except for one, but we actually have 3 games coming out. Well, 2.5, let's just say 2.5 games coming out. Coming out on the 8th of November, we have Sonic Frontiers. I can't remember the last open world Sonic game we've had, but this is the first one in a long time. And this one was hot. People are really psyched for this. I'm looking forward to it. Will I get an early copy? I don't know yet. I would love it if I did. That would make things a lot easier on us. But I am looking forward to this. We have played Sonic games the last few years. However, they've been side scrollers, the traditional 2.5 dimensional ones, you know what I mean? Like Sonic Mania that came out a few years ago. We played a few things like that as well. Plus the HD Sonic remake or remaster, whatever you call it, that we played a little bit earlier as well. All based on the 2-dimensional classic Sega, style. But this one is like similar to like, oh geez, I can't even remember some of these, but the one from the Dreamcast and things like that. It's open world, like I said, we can travel from area to area. So I think that should be really cool. If we can get an early copy, again, sweet. Otherwise, we're going to be covering that on the 8th, but maybe not. Possibly not on the 8th, and here's why. Because on the 9th of November, one of the most anticipated, if not the most anticipated game of the year is releasing officially, and that is God of War Ragnarok. Now, I absolutely adored God of War from 2018. I believe that game actually won Game of the Year for me in my list. I was struggling though in 2018 because there were so many good games in that year that I'm like, the top 3 games of the year, they were just barely, I had to nitpick. I was forced to nitpick, and it was like honestly between, I'm like, oh, which one did I like more? You know what I mean? And I ended up giving it to God of War over Spider-Man for 2nd place. I don't know if I still agree with that to this day, but it's so hard to really say which one is better because they're so damn good, and they're both, honestly, if I could give them both number 1, I would have. But either way, the very anticipated sequel is officially releasing on the 9th. Now, obviously, I do have or as I mentioned, I should say, not necessarily obviously, but I have mentioned that I do have a sponsorship with PlayStation, so I should be getting an early copy of that, which case, if I get a copy on, like, earlier than that, and I have to and like the embargo's on the 8th, well, guess what? Sonic Frontiers is getting bumped. It's just the way it's going to go because God of War is going to take priority. Now, again, if God of War is going to be longer than you know, the previous game, the predecessor, might take a few streams, but I'm gonna do my best. This, like, if you guys were with us during the earlier months of 2022, they released God of War 2018 on PC, and I played that, and I did as much as I could. I did all the side missions, I did all, like, the Valkyries, you know, all that kind of stuff. I went through and did as much as I possibly could have, side missions, what have you. So I would like to kind of do that again, because the first time I played God of War in 2018, just my regular run, I wasn't streaming here. I wasn't streaming here on YouTube. I wasn't doing full streams. So I was kind of phasing over certain things. But hey, I figure why not take our time, enjoy the game with what we have. I'm sure something similar will come around. We'll do some, hopefully it's very similar in that regard. Just, it's going to be bigger and better. I just know that. So I feel like a lot of time is going to be spent on God of War Ragnarok. So just figured I'd throw that out there. Very excited for that. One of my, I think it's going to be phenomenal. I always say though, don't believe the hype machine, but honestly, when it comes to a game like this, I think we should believe the hype machine with this one. This is the exception, so we're going to be looking forward to that one. All right, now coming out on the 10th, I don't know if this was smart to release it there, but again, if I end up getting Ragnarok earlier or something like that, it's going to take priority, and this game might just have to get pushed. I don't know, I might, or not even game, but DLC, might have to get pushed to the week after. We'll see what happens, just because it's not a whole lot coming out the week after that, so we'll see. But coming out on the 10th was the delayed DLC for Dying Light 2, Bloody Ties. That was supposed to come out the previous month, got pushed. In hindsight, I was like, oh good, delay it, you know, that's fine. But then I looked at the week it got delayed to, I was like, oh man, what they should do, please, for me, just delay it to like December or January, where there's enough time. But that's a stupid time to delay it to. Honestly, I don't think they should have even released Sonic Frontiers in that week, because you're gonna be competing with Ragnarok. Actually, there were a couple of games I think that were coming out the same time Ragnarok was, and they purposefully, the publishers purposefully delayed their own game, not because they needed more time on it, but because they didn't want to compete with Ragnarok, because a lot of people are only going to pick one game. Not everyone can pick every game that comes out each week, so you're really competing with a lot of people here, or with other game developers and things like that. So I don't think there should have been any releases other than God of War during that week, but there you go. So we'll try and fit that in somewhere. Again, if I can do it on the 10th, it really just depends what games I get early that week. But the 10th, like I said, Bloody Ties might have to get pushed to the week after if need be. I'm not 100% sure on that though, guys. I will keep you posted. But we will be doing that, I promise you. That's the first major story DLC, not including the little side mission DLCs that they've been kind of releasing that take you maybe an hour or something to do, whatever it is. Yeah, those don't count. So this one is a proper story. So we'll have to see how it goes. So we'll be covering that, I'm sure. All right, moving on. Now, this game I'm also looking forward to. It'll also be a one stream event, because I've already played many other versions of this game. This is the latest installment in the Dark Pictures anthology, The Devil in Me. Now, obviously, we've been playing Dark Pictures games since, honestly, when has it been, 2018? 19? I can't remember when the first one came out, which was Man of Medan. When did that come out? I think that came out in 18, I think, like November-ish, October-ish, around the same time. It might have been later, but I swear we've had like 4 games by now, and they all release yearly, so makes sense. 18, roughly. I'm not 100% sure. I gotta look into that again, but Obviously, we've been playing a lot of them. This is the 4th installment, I believe. So that makes sense, yeah. So we've been playing these games for a lot. I love the story. I love how there's always something different with each one of them. That's what I love the most, is it's some sort of horror-esque game, but in a different way. You know what I mean? But like sometimes there's always just like a hidden aspect to it that doesn't really match, you know? Like with Man of Medan, you know, you had one thing that was almost fantastical and it seemed like a ghost ship, and then there was a big curveball and things like that, whereas another one is witch hunting and different stories with that, you know what I mean? And then Wendigo style stuff, like it's all there. It's so I'm very excited to see what they're going to do with this one, what direction they're going to take. So that does come out on the 18th, as I mentioned, so we'll be covering that once again as well. All right, moving on. The week after that, on the 22nd, this game did get delayed a couple times, so I can't remember if I mentioned it in a different game update or not, but it did get delayed. We have Evil West. All right, now this game is interesting because it follows a couple of different hybrids of styles. The game has been stated to be have the combat of like Devil May Cry, but also like the third person and melee system of God of War from 2018. So those are two very big franchises that it's borrowing elements from. Like imagine Wild West, but it's like vampires, so vampire hunters. So I think it's a really cool concept, and I think it'd be really sweet to try out. That game, again, I don't know if it's how quick it's going to be. It could be a shorty. I don't know. We're going to find out more as we get closer to that, but I figured it'd be a cool addition to the list of games to play this month. All right, moving on, guys. The last official release of the month is, again, this game actually got delayed a couple times, and I'm not normally into this realm. I'm not normally into it, but I like their video games. I've actually played a couple over the years, and their games in this world are really solid, or at least interesting for me to play them. Coming out on the 30th, the last day of the month, we have got Warhammer 40k Darktide. So this is like a first-person shooter game, but it's set in the 40k universe. The story seems really cool, and I don't feel like you necessarily need to be in a deep dive of the Warhammer 40k universe. I'm sure it helps, but like I said, I've played a lot of games in this universe as it is, and I think it's the games usually speak for themselves. And I like the fact that in these universes they have so many different types of games. Like there have been RTS ones, there's been shooters, third-person games, all sorts of things like that. So I'm really looking forward to this one, based on gameplay and just visual, like based on the trailers, things that I've seen. I think it could be a really cool one. So that'll be the closer for the month of November. And there aren't a whole lot else. I know it sounds like there's a lot there, but when you really think about it, a lot of these games can be beaten in one stream. I know people have been asking, Dan, are you going to go back to sports games? I get asked that every single time. Yes, I will. We're going to go back to NBA, NHL, PGA. I'll try and go back to Madden if it ever works. We had a glitch. I don't know if you guys remember. They still hadn't fixed it. Might never go back to that, but the plan to finish all these games, at least complete seasons, you know, I will be doing that. Just gonna wait for a break. If there's a break and I don't have a lot going on, I will throw that in there. Same thing with Modern Warfare. I'll probably be playing today. So if you, depending when you watch this on the 1st, I will be trying to do maybe some multiplayer since it just came out. Try and play a few more, maybe some more rounds there. So keep an eye out, obviously. And then we kind of start these new games. Maybe we're back to a sports game on the 4th this week, depending when we finish the games that are coming out this week. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. I'm gonna try and throw something in there because, again, I know there are people on the channel who watch exclusively for certain series, so I want to make sure you guys know that I haven't forgotten. So anyway, that about does it for the month of November. Again, we are running out of time in 2022. Absolutely crazy. We got some great games coming out this month, next month, and in the new year as well that I'm super excited for. So I hope you guys tune in, especially for this month of November. Obviously, if there's any games that are coming out after November, they're not going to be in this video. Obviously, just whatever I mention in each month is what's releasing this month, so you can see and kind of get an understanding of what I'm going to cover. Guys, if you did enjoy this video, though, make sure you leave a like on it. Comment your thoughts below. What game are you looking forward to covering? If you feel like I missed any of the games that came out or that are coming out, any games, DLCs, please comment them below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, obviously, especially on the DLCs, because the DLCs always slip under the radar no matter what. Like so many times, like, how do people know that these things came out? They literally announce it. Sometimes they even announce it the day before, like at 10 p.m., and you're like, how the hell was I supposed to see that? You know what I mean? So any knowledge of DLC releases, like again, even these like these major stream medias, they don't announce anything prematurely because DLCs kind of just get like a last minute announcement unless it's a major story one and there's like a lot of hype built around it, but a lot of the times it doesn't happen. So it's kind of a shame, but it's what it is. So just let me know of anything like that. I have swept through many different sources to see what releases are coming out. There's a few games that I was looking at and I'm like, nah, I changed my mind on. So those games I've probably said no to, but feel free to let me know anyway. Always looking for new games to cover anyway. So anything you could suggest would help out as well. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not yet, with those post notifications turned on. That's the bell icon, so you don't miss anything I put out. Be sure to follow my social pages as well. Got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and Discord. Those are all linked in the description. If you want to get a shirt or hoodie of mine, there's a link in the description. Also, an embedded feature below. You can scroll down and see some of the goodies I have there. Although at last report, that thing was kind of glitchy, so what you might see in there isn't necessarily what's reflective. You might see some empty designs. You're better off just going to the full site anyway in the description. That's the accurate, and it actually does work over there, so make sure you check that out as well, okay? Big shout out to all the sponsors of the stream, of course. DXRacer, Bones Coffee, Always Bearded, The Ridge Wallet, Matter Rabbit Tattoo, and Jinx Custom Controllers. I use all their products every single day, and you can check them out for yourselves with the links in the description. Be sure to use my promo code DANK3000 to save at checkout with them. Finally, guys, be sure to check out and sign up for the Team 8000 members program. If you haven't done so already, it does support the page a lot. There are 4 tiers available: entry, basic, premium, and ultimate. All 4 of those tiers have a wide variety of perks. However, those higher tiers obviously get more and better things for signing up. But that entry level, that first tier, it's only 99 cents, the cheapest and easiest way to get into the program here. You'll get things like custom badges by name, custom emojis to use in chat, exclusive video and stream access, party and open lobbies, giveaways, discounts, and plenty more things. Speaking on that, because it's the month of November, obviously, make sure you guys do not miss the members only stream coming up this week, most likely on the 2nd at the end of my first stream, either the 2nd or the 4th, depending on how much time I have. It's gonna be the 2nd or the 4th. I promise you it's one of those days. And I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet. I will let you guys know as soon as I have information. But I will be doing the ultimate member giveaway, obviously. So if you are an ultimate member, which is the top tier, you'll be entered into that giveaway, and you'll be entered there'll be 2 winners. First winner will get a game of their choice, and the second winner will get a t-shirt from me, my merch shop t-shirt. Working out some working out some new things. Hopefully to either come this year or early next year for that merch giveaway. I'll announce more as we go, but make sure you are an ultimate tier member if you want to be entered in that giveaway. Don't have to be in the stream that I do to win the game, or to win, be a winner, but it obviously does help. And if you want to be in the members only stream, make sure you are a basic member or higher. That's the tier that unlocks that for everybody. So make sure you do that. Links in the description below. There's a join button below the video on my main channel page. Also, if you are watching from mobile, there's a $sign next to the comments section. If you scroll down, there should be a little thing, $sign somewhere, and there should be a join from the drop down menu that's there. So make sure you do that. Support the page. Let's work towards 200 members. That's our next milestone. Once we hit that milestone, I can give you guys another emoji to use, and I already know which one I want to add. So make sure you sign up. Appreciate it in advance. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope I see you in a stream very soon. Lots of games coming out. So hopefully we see you then. Until then, let's hand things over to Noxel. Have a good one, guys.
Who's the man with the plan? If you feel trouble, wildin' wild on these violent and hit you 8,000. Wait a minute, hold that style, it's dialed in. Goddamn Billy Jack, we still riding, tires flat. I hear them sirens, see shots flying, so we driving, fire back. If they ain't vibing, lie with that. Got me dressed up in all black. What up? Hood up, and I see them haters try to run with us. They gon' need inhalers. Gotta breathe them hard, just like Darth Vader. Players, grab your respirators. Night invaders get lightsabered. Mask on for the shooters, move like trash to bed intruder. Got that Glock and got them woofers. Just press play, I'll keep it moving. Who is Noxel, you damn fools? Keep it fresh like canned food. There ain't nothing we can't do, so tune into that damn kill. Yeah. It was never, ever a game.